I'm Basia Sokolowska, taking you through my creative alphabet. Letter P stands for Paterson, a film by Jim Jarmush. A very beautiful film, a very simple story, beautifully scripted, acted, directed and filmed. A story of a bus driver who writes poetry. We see him throughout the week. We see that every day he repeats the same routine, goes to work, walks to work actually, drives a bus, comes back home, has dinner with his wife and takes his dog for a walk to the bar where he has a beer. Of course, there is a drama that unfolds throughout the week, but it's a very, very simple and regular pace, and it kind of has this sort of meditative quality to it. There is a theme, a very strong theme of duality in this film. The main couple is Paterson and his wife, but there is also Paterson and his colleague Danny, a couple of bus drivers. Twins appear throughout the film, as do couples of friends having conversations on the bus. There are also famous couples like Romeo and Juliet, referring to the couple in the pub, in the bar where Paterson has a drink every evening, and Abbott and Costello, another famous couple, important in the city of Paterson where the film is set. There are also kind of dualities mentioned on a different level. The obsession with black and white of Paterson's wife, the black and white film they go and see. I have a black and white couple here, a negative and a positive of Manchu, and a couple of black and white stones which I like to draw to illustrate and amplify the couplehood and the duality of this film. The main duality though is Paterson's job and Paterson's poetry. He drives a bus, which is a very kind of practical, technical task, and Jim Jarmusch shows very beautifully how that job, very mundane and very repetitive, coexists with poetry, the way it seeps into Paterson's mind when he's having breakfast, or when he's walking to work, or when he's driving the bus. The way he writes it and where he writes it, he uses small bits of time which he has throughout the day, like a lunch break, or when he sits on the bus, in the bus depot, to write poems. He never has an issue with having to stop or not having enough time. He's very humble about it. He kind of recognizes that he functions in a reality of conversations and events and things that one has to do. So he can kind of switch to his non-poetic mode very quickly. But still, what Jim Jarmusch is showing, that throughout the day he kind of is immersed in the sphere of poetry, which infuses his life with something actually quite beautiful, something we can also share as we watch the film. I think what Jim Jarmusch is saying, that you are an artist when you make art, and you live art, the way Paterson does in the film, that you don't have to have an art degree or education or university education to be an artist. You don't have to talk or show your art to be an artist. You can live in this realm of very private, secret sphere where you are with your art, and making art is a way of really living your art and actually having a very special relationship with the world around you and with yourself. And the reason why I think this film resonated with me so much, because when it was first released, I went to see it almost every second day, and then I got a DVD which I watch now and again, and the film is still very, very good and very valid and mesmerizing, is that I also honor this dimension in my life. It's very important for me. It's quite private. I want to decide who I share it with, in the same way Paterson talked to his wife and no one else pretty much about his poetry. But also this duality of having a full-time job and being an artist, because I also have a full-time job, and in my job I don't make my art, I don't show my art, I don't talk about my art. I can switch my art off in that way and do things that need to be done, and still I find that making art and that dimension, that kind of way of relating to life and myself, is probably the most important part of my life, the most important and nurturing and wonderful sphere of my life.